Hello folks, hopefully you're having a good day and you've been having a good weekend as we've just gone past it. It is time for some hobby nightmares. Let's jump straight in, shall we? If you like what I do, the Patreon is down below if you want to go get involved down there and help me out by buying me a coffee or a beer. That is completely up to you, but that is your option down below. Also, make sure you're giving some love to Composite Games. They are really, really good people. And if you're getting any sort of models over the next few weeks or months towards summer and the tournament season, make sure you are getting them from them and using the promo code Northern Exile down below to get yourself 5% off your order at checkout. Also, Grimdark Painting is down below. You've seen my, not Astral Blades anymore, you've seen my Void Talons and my Terminator that he did for me on the channel before. Amazing, amazing model painter. If you're going to get any sort of models painted, make sure you use the promo code Northern Exile down below, at the link down below, to get yourself 10% off your order, or your quote. Let's jump in, shall we? So, Hugh says, "Hey North, I would really love your opinion on this." Okay, I love these. I love these ones. Okay. "Quickly, I've been watching the channel for about a month now and I love it. Please keep up the good work, otherwise I won't have anything to paint to." Good lad. Okay, cool. "Please don't screw up your painting now you know I'm reading your story. To set the scene, I have been into 40k since I was young, but only recently got into playing the actual game. I joined a local club that was running a Zero to Hero course on how to play 10th edition. About 10 brand new players started this. It was great, and everyone was having fun. We get to the 5th week of the course, which was meant to be our last game, being helped by the tutors at the club. My opponent this week was a guy we'll call Harry." Just as an aside, that's an amazing idea. Like a little course on how to play. It's cool. I like it. "I went over to the table where Harry was waiting, and he turned around, asked my name, gave me a firm handshake and a smile. I'd been around him. I'd seen him around the club in previous weeks, and he was a very friendly guy, and him and his opponents always seemed to be having lots of fun. I explained to him how I was still unsure on some of the rules and how to use secondaries, etc. And he said that he was the same and not to worry. Oh, nice lad. Nice guy. This was a lie, as even though he'd only started a few weeks before, at the same time as me, the guy retained information like nothing else. We started the game and deployed our armies. I was playing Dark Angels with the Lion leading them, whilst Harry was playing an Imperial Fist's successor chapter where he'd based his army on a book he'd read and really enjoyed. I think they were called the Excoriators. Okay, cool. Anyway, we got going and he helped me pretty much on every point I got stuck. He managed to remember everything and even gave me suggestions on what to do that would mostly put him at a disadvantage. He would always help me with a smile and talk about how well my army was painted compared to his. Dude, this guy's a really awesome guy. What a nice guy. We get to his 3rd turn and he's well behind on points, as he knew how to move around to get better firing lanes and do secondaries. Did I mention he was in the army? What? And when I mentioned him Did I mention he was in the army? And when I mentioned him being good at moving around the board, he laughed and said, "Thanks, haha. If I was bad, I would be out of a job." We get to his shooting, and he got my Ballistus Dreadnought down to 6 wounds, with 1 weapon left to fire. He had been using the Games Workshop cube of cream dice the whole time. One of them was slightly whiter than the others. He seems to randomly pick this white dice up from time to time. He rolls to hit and rolls a 6. He rolls to wound and rolls a 6. I fail the save and he rolls damage and rolls a 6. All with the same dice and the exact number to kill my Dreadnought. Oh no. Oh no. This is going so well. I go, "Damn man, that was lucky," and reach for my Dreadnought. He says, "Yeah," in a quizzical tone, while staring at his dice, and then he says, "Hold on a sec." He picks up the dice and rolls another 6. He then rolls another 4 or 5 times, and all of them are 6s. He calls one of the tutors over and says, "I think I'm using weighted dice." The tutor had a very confused look on his face, but checked his dice. He took the cube away and checked them with a few others. He came back a few minutes later and said, Yeah, 2 of these are weighted. One that only rolls a 6, and the other one that only rolls a 1. As soon as he said this, Harry turned to me and said, "Mate, I'm so sorry, I forfeit. You would have won anyway." And I definitely would have. He then asked the tutors to get rid of the whole cube of dice and explained that he's gotten them from a second-hand Warhammer bundle off a Facebook marketplace and showed us the pictures the guy had sent him, showing the cube of dice. He then started packing up his models and apologising to me over and over again. He paid his fee for the evening, apologised to the guys around the club again, and left pretty promptly. It had been a few weeks since I'd seen him at the club and asked one of the other guys where he was. He said they had to ban him for cheating. Dude, what? What? I mentioned this to all the other guys who'd started the Zero to Hero course with me, and they were all confused, saying he was always nice, helpful, and seemingly actually interested in the lore of your army. We mentioned this to the head of the club, who agreed and didn't know he'd been banned at all. End of a long story, he was unbanned, came back a few weeks later really happy to be there. We played a game a few weeks after that, and to start off, he said, "Do you want to swap dice this time?" while smiling and apologising again for what had happened. A few guys in the club are a bit sceptical, as he's quite good for someone who's new. Please let me know what you think, and thank you for reading. Have a good day. The Emperor protects, Hugh. Okay. I think this guy's fine. From what you've said to me, this guy's alright. You know, maybe at the very worst, he was cheating in that previous game, and then his conscience got the better of him, and he went to get the TO and explain what had happened. But at the end of the day, if they're mixed in with all of his other dice, again, he can't do anything about that. That just is what it is, right? It is fishy that he kept choosing the same dice, but also that can just happen. You know, things like that can just happen. He's bought dice off of eBay. He's shown you the, you know, the order that he'd done on eBay, right? He's shown you that, so you know he bought that dice cube off of eBay. And he's fully admitted that he was using loaded dice. And he didn't mean to do it. He didn't even know they were in there. That's fine, okay? If this guy's win-loss record is average, right? And you've just said to me that he absorbs information like a sponge. This guy's just good at Warhammer, it seems to me. It seems to me he's just good at Warhammer. And he's been unfortunately caught using loaded dice with you know, unbeknownst to him, right? And he called it out and got in front of it and went away and paid his money and said, "Look, I'm really sorry about that," and apologised and left. The banning of him seems to be, to me, a load of middle management between the owner of the event and the players, you know? That seems to be where things fall apart quite quickly. Every single situation I've ever been in, when I've been in charge of something and I've had people working below me, it's always had issues. There's always been issues, right? Because the middle management take it upon themselves to start doing things unilaterally, which aren't good. And then, you know, people bring stuff to your attention and you say, "Oh, right, yeah, we need to not do this and get on with it," right? Happened in my professional life, happened in my personal life. It's just human beings being human beings, essentially. The bureaucracy is growing to satisfy the needs of the growing bureaucracy, you know, that kind of a thing. So I would give this guy the benefit of the doubt. If you get any sort of, you know, feelings that he's cheating in future, maybe then that's the time to not ban him, but like not play him anymore. Do you know what I mean? But I'd give him the benefit that if he's a nice guy and, you know, he's just good at the game, just get on with it, dude. Have fun, you know. Okay. Apophis says, "Greetings, Mr. Northern. I found your channel by pure luck on YouTube a few weeks ago, and so far been binge listening to your stories whilst working on my Khorne Demons Combat Patrol. Well done, man. Hope you're doing well and keep up the good work. I'm from Germany, so English is not my native language, so I hope my spelling errors are at a minimum. Oh, and you can call me Apophis. I have done, thank you. Now to my story. I started with Warhammer Fantasy Battles around 2007 with Skaven 6th edition, second cover. I had not played the game with other players so far, but it was nice to work on the battalion box during that time. As 2009 rolled around and the 7th edition Codex rolled around with the new model range, I had a bunch of buys and new colour schemes going on. This was also where I got my first real game in my local Games Workshop store, with the villain of this story dubbed Kevin. And he's put Kevin in all capital letters, so you know this guy's going to be a piece of work. Now, Kevin is not a neckbeard. He does not reek of foul odours or anything like that. He is a well-dressed, average-looking guy with a girlfriend and a normal guy, you would say, but for some reason, he still needed to cheat his way to victory all of the time. I should mention that I went from a night shift to the game store for the game with him, so I was very tired and my brain was not fully functional. I had some hours of sleep after work before the game, but still. Alright, fair enough. Kevin brought his 6th edition Dwarven army to the table against my 7th edition Skaven army. Now, I'm terrible bad with names, but I gave my Warlord General the Warlitter mount, a kit bash of old clan rats and some wood with the Grimblade. As the game went on, my Skaven Warlord and his Storm Vermin charged into the enemy line of the Dwarf General and his Hammerers. As I was declaring a duel between the two warlords, Kevin told me that my attack is futile. I asked why, and he told me that, and I quote, my general has an artifact that gives a bonus on his saving roll, plus a hero in the same unit that also adds to his saving roll, plus a hero in a unit that is about 2 to 4 inches away, that also, you guessed it, gives my general a saving bonus on his save. So my general has a -1 save, and you literally can't kill him. Okay, before I go anywhere else in this, my friend, that is bullshit. Alright? That is not a thing. In Warhammer, it doesn't matter whether it's 40k or... whether it's 40k or whether it's Age of Sigmar or whether it's Fantasy Battles, you always have to take a save. Okay? There are never any saves where you say no, you literally can't get better than my save. There are no 1+ saves, is what I'm saying. There's no way to do that. That is not part of the game. So if anybody ever tells you literally can't damage me because I get so many bonuses to my saving throw that I just don't need to throw it, that's bullshit. You only get a 2+ saving throw in any game that Games Workshop ever make, right? Just take it as read. You only get a 2+ saving throw. That's the best it can get. You may get to re-roll it. Don't get me wrong. You may get to re-roll it. But you only get... It doesn't ever get better than a 2+. Or else what would be the point in even having the model there, right? You may as well stick him on an objective and he can never be killed. I think these days with the new 40k, you kind of can get 1+ saves because many weapons have such high AP that they drive your save back up again. But it's very rare. And even then, you don't do a 1+ save, you take a 2+ save. You don't just say, you can't hurt me. Everything can hurt you. Alright? As far as I'm aware, people, feel free to correct me in the comment section down below, but I'm pretty sure that everything in 40k, at least, can be hurt by everything else. The odds may be very low that you hurt that person, but there's still a chance, right? Yeah, so if anybody in a Games Workshop store says to you, or playing a Games Workshop game, says to you, you can't hurt my model there because it saves too good, that's a load of nonsense. Like 9 times out of 10. Probably 10 out of 10, to be honest with you. But anyway. For me, as a first-time player, I was confused, but I assumed that he was right about the rules since I saw him earlier in the store playing with others. So, to make a long story short, I was stomped on by the dwarfs. Kevin shook my hand, thanked me for a good game, and left the store. As I was putting my Skaven back, some other regular walked over to me and mentioned that Kevin was heavily cheating. So I asked what went wrong, and the list is as follows. 1. There is no way to modify a save roll to better than 1. Exactly. You can't even modify it to 1. Do you know what I mean? There's no way to modify a save roll better than 2, essentially. A natural 1 is still a failure for any save whatsoever. 3. Kevin was really quick about picking up his dice after the roll to declare any number before I could see the sitting dice. That's a huge red flag. That's probably the biggest cheating red flag you can get. You know what I mean? If someone says, oh no, that was a 3, whatever, and they pick up the dice before you can even see it, that's huge. That is a huge cheating red flag. And number 4, the range of artifacts effects was weird and wildly expanded. So yeah, I was pissed. I bought the Dwarven Codex from 6th edition to double check, and I did not find any such artifact, rune or something else that gave him that much of an advantage. I own the Battle for Skull Pass, so I also have dwarfs at home. After that, I joined some other regular customers of the store, and they all shared similar stories about Kevin. From that day forth, I decided to never play with Kevin again, but Faith has his own way to screw with us. Okay. What I will say there is that I really hope you didn't buy that Dwarf Codex, right? That Dwarf Army book, thinking that you were going to get the same rules that Kevin got, because that would be a double kick in the bollocks. Can you imagine some guy cheating against you, and then you go, right, I'm going to collect that army. You go and buy the Codex or Army book, and you find out all of his rules are bullshit, and you just wasted 30 quid. This is the worst. If you want, I can share my other stories I had with Kevin in a 40k store campaign, but here are some other bits I witnessed from Kevin. The greatest hits, if you will. Number 1. On Armies on Parade Day, he would give bypassers candy like Snickers, Mars, bounties, etc. if they went to the store to vote for his army. He won that time, and for the future, the rules were changed so that could not happen again. Dude. You've almost got to respect the amount of prickness this guy is exuding right now. Oh my god. He just... Oh dear. Number 2. Basically, on every Armies on Parade, he would place a battle diorama with another army from a friend of his to display. I'm pretty sure that is not in the sense of showing your own army on a parade. Number 3. In one game, Kevin played vampires against high elves, and I saw a unit of 3 zombies on 5 by 2 movement trays. So I jokingly said, wow, they're about to be gone pretty soon, but hey, I hope you still win. Kevin looked at me in the eye and said, nah, there are 80 zombies standing in that line there. Like, bruh, what? How is it even possible? His opponent was defeated shortly after, and I suspected cheating there as well. No, he was, it sounds to me like he was, what do I say, not metaing, what's it, proxying, right? He put 3 models there and said that's a box of 80 there, you know? Number 4, on another Armies on Parade Day, Kevin did not win because this time a jury of 3 people were chosen to rate the entries. He put on a hissy fit and mumbled to himself that this is totally unfair. Later, he and his friends went to Facebook and gave the store bad reviews and comments and stuff. Dude, that is so beyond petty. But I'm not surprised by his antics early on. Who stands outside of a store and gives candy to people to come in and vote for their army when they don't even like Warhammer the passers-by? Do you know what I mean? That is next level petty. That is that is pathetic. That is actually pathetic. And number 5, he hides dice behind terrain with exactly that number that he needs in certain situations when he reads them out. So I hope you had fun reading this mess, and I wish you a good day. Cheers. Yeah, dude, send me the rest. I want to hear more about this guy, even though it's really annoying. I want to hear more about this guy. That guy, I mean, we've heard about some people on the channel, and this guy's going in the Hall of Fame. You know? If you guys want a worst of the worst Hall of Fame or a Hall of Shame, we can do that. Like a Room 101 for these people. Do you know what? Let's do that from now on. We're going to do a hobby Room 101. Right? We've got to decide who from these hobby nightmares is going in that room. And their punishment is that they only get to play each other. Right? They only get to play each other. That's it. That's their punishment. Alright? That is what they have to do. There are many... If you can think of people from previous hobby nightmares that you want in that Room 101, tell me. Because the first person going in is this fucking Kevin. Right? He's in there straight away. Alright? I'm putting him in there. He's gone in Room 101. Off you go, Kevin. He's in there. Right? If you know anybody else from previous hobby nightmares, let me know. They can all go in there. Even if there's like toxic exes and stuff who weren't in the hobby, like Pirate King's ex. Remember Pirate King's ex? Yeah, she can go in there as well. Right? So she can like annoy all the men in there. That's fine. Right? So you let me know from previous hobby nightmares who should go in Hobby Nightmare Room 101 to play each other for all eternity and stay the hell away from us so we can enjoy our Warhammer, we can enjoy our hobby. Alright? Cool. Put them in the comment section down below. Sam says, Dear Mr. Exile, this is Sam once again coming to you from across the pond in the great state of Kentucky. Once again, thank you for reading my story on your channel. I thought I could take a break from painting my Space Wolves whilst drinking Basil Hayden bourbon and High Lung playing in the background. Yes, I'm that kind of Space Wolf player. To give you my other hobby nightmare of the worst player meltdown in all my years of gaming in all terms of role-playing, board, magic and Warhammer combined. Oh my god, this has got to be good. The setting is my local Games Workshop during Specialised Games Day. Obviously, I'll be using fake names to protect the innocent. The characters in this tale include myself, who's mostly just an observer in this story, Starkiller, our Games Workshop manager, who's an absolute darling of a young woman with a saint's patience, even to her own toddler at the time, which even then, as they say, has a limit. Grognog 1 and Grognog 2, the two other players in this game, in which they are sort of the catalysts of the situation, which brings us to Mac, the problem player. A young man in his late teens at the end of high school and fixing to go to university. He appears that I might be on the spectrum. Far from me to judge, as I found myself to be there, but I think he might be a little less functioning. But moving on. Okay, so here, what you're saying is there, I think you got a bit muddled up in your words. He appears to be on the spectrum to you. And because you're on the spectrum yourself, you feel like you can recognise other people, right? That's fine. You know. Moving on. Do you know what? I will say this. Do you know who hates autistic people? Other autistic people. I'm being honest. Like, my autistic friends, right? They do autism jokes all the time, but they despise the tics of other autistic people. And they can pick it out a mile away. If you're using autism to be a prick, they can pick it out a dozen paces away. They'll go, prick. Yeah, you may be autistic, mate, but you're also a prick. Right? And that has nothing to do with your autism. That's just you being a prick. Right? And that made me think, you know, like the people who hate autism or autistic people the most are other autistic people. You know, everybody else kind of like, you know, gets on with it because we feel like we have to, because, you know, we're trying to make sure that you guys are involved and you're having fun. But other autistic people, they have no patience. They're just like, fuck this guy, fuck his tics. I'm enjoying my hobby time. Get in the sea, right? Like, literally straight away. They're just ruthless, and I love it. I love it so much. The four of us players sat down to play Hero Quest Silver Tower, which was new at the time. The Grognogs and I played the store models that were yet to be painted, but Matt came in with his painted Ogroid Thaumaturge that was fully painted and ready to go. We were playing just to get a sample of the game and learning the ropes, so no one was serious about it. At least no one save for Mac, anyway. Either way, the game was moving along as we go through random room after random room. That is, until we come upon this one encounter. Here's where you can sip your tea, and I can sip my bourbon. No, mate, I don't have any tea. I'm recording this on Sunday night, right? I've just got back from dropping my daughter off at my mum's for the evening, and I'm literally sitting here on a Sunday night about to cook dinner, and I'm recording, so I don't have any tea. But I will do for tomorrow's video. Not tomorrow's video, for Tuesday's video. That's going to be a doozy, that one. Alright, moving on. Forgive me if the details are a bit fuzzy, but the encounter had us fighting these two monsters that had some paralysing effect going on. Basically, we each had to roll a d6 for each monster, and if either one was a 3 or under, our character was paralysed and just took the hit from the monsters. I said that seemed rather excessive, and perhaps we can tone it down, but Grognog 2 said that those are the rules and we have to carry on. I simply shook my head with a grumble, but Mac, on the other hand, immediately pouted and said that that's no fun, which I did agree with. Needless to say, hardly anyone was making their saves, and the monsters kept wailing on our characters. While Grognogs and I were sighing and grumbling over the encounter, Mac, on the other hand, started to hyperventilate. I felt like I was between a rock and a hard place, with Mac being a ticking time bomb and Grognog 2 kept pressing the situation. Well, Mac's character was the first to get KO'd, and that's when it escalated. Oh no. This is the worst. You've got a sore loser, or somebody who can't hack losing. There are certain people out there who can't hack it. They can't do it. They can't do losing. Do you know what I mean? And when you combine them with rule sticklers, like people go, these are the rules, and they are not changing. And this is what, you know, those people, they just rub up against each other, and explosions happen. Not the good kinds of rubbing up and explosions either. Mac jumped out of his chair and started to shake his fists, yell, and cuss at us all. He was so animated, I thought I was watching an old Warner Brothers cartoon or Jackie Gleason comedy sketch. That's when Starkiller immediately went, Mac, outside, now. I've never seen Starkiller raise her voice like that, even to a toddler, and everybody went quiet. Mac gathered his things and went through the front door. Needless to say, we ended the game at that, and I never saw Mac in the store again after the incident, but his mother did come by to pick up a few of his orders, and from what I've been told, he's off to college. Overall, I have to say, it was a mixed experience, seeing one of the biggest meltdowns I've ever seen at a gaming table. The sight of Mac gave was comical, but at the same time, I couldn't help but pity the poor kid who obviously has some major issues. I also think it was the perfect storm between Mac and his temperament, or lack thereof, and Grognard 2 not wanting to compromise just for the rules and not the spirit of the game. Either way, I've not been with either of those two at the table, which is no skin off my back. Yeah, I mean, as I said before, man, some personalities at the table shouldn't mix. And those are two. If you're somebody who can't really hack losing, or really doesn't like losing, that's fine. Do you know what? We've all got different personalities. Maybe you shouldn't be in a competitive gaming space, I'll say that. But number two, if you come across a guy who is a stickler totally for the rules, and you need to do things by the book, no matter how damaging and non-fun they are, number one, you're probably playing with a Dark Souls player. Sorry, Dark Souls people. But number two, you probably shouldn't be playing with that person. Alright? I am not somebody who enjoys losing, to say the least. Okay? To say the least, I am not somebody who enjoys losing. It just is what it is, right? It is where we are. But I'm not somebody who goes out of my way to go mental if I am losing. But if I'm with a stickler for the rules, and I think that they're not getting the spirit of the game, then I will pull back from spending my hobby time with that person. And there's nothing wrong with that. The spirit of the game is essentially an essential core part of our hobby and what it does for people, right? Play with your own kind. Don't try and force yourself into games that are going to annoy and frustrate you. It'll ruin your own hobby, okay? Try and get better at losing, don't get me wrong, but it's your hobby time, dude, and if you're doing the best that you can with... I'm guilty of this. Today, I was converting some Grey Knight Terminators using the new Terminator set, and I was making, basically, a size-appropriate Grey Knight Terminators, and it was going pretty okay. But I didn't have my clippers with me, and I was getting more and more and more frustrated. And my missus came in and said, listen, you need to stop, because you're getting frustrated, and your hobby's not being very fun right now, and, you know, that's not what the hobby's all about. To which I said, I will once I get this one model done, because you're right, but number two, I need to get this out the way, so at least it's done, right? And eventually I did it. I did do it, I calmed myself down, I did do it, but my god, that was frustrating. It was so frustrating. But I've been there. And I've had to take a step back. I did today. I took a step back and said, look, I'll do this another day. Because right now, I'm not enjoying my hobby time. And that is what the hobby's all about. Do you know what I mean? Especially with other people. Make sure you're enjoying yourself. And if you're not, step back and examine why. And sometimes it's not their fault. Sometimes it's your fault. Maybe you just don't fit in where you are. That's not a problem. Take it on the chin and go and find your own people somewhere else. Anyway, I'll carry on. This is my story of the worst meltdown I've ever witnessed, and this is from a guy who's been to some Friday night Magic the Gathering tournaments. Keep up the good work and remind your audience that not all Space Wolf players are the salty neckbeard those guys, at least as far as outside the UK goes. Sincerely, Sam, the Space Wolf Goodwill Ambassador. Thank you very much, Sam. And yeah, you know what? A lot of Space Wolves aren't bad guys. A lot of Space Wolves are nice dads. I come across dads quite a lot who play one of two things. Jolly dads play one of two things. Space Wolves or Orcs. That's who they play. Big, jolly dads with big, jolly beards. That's who they play, by and large. There will be exceptions out there, but that's who they are. It just doesn't change the fact that, unfortunately, there are a lot of toxic as all hell Space Wolf players out there as well, but I'll get into that rant another day. I love you a long time. I'll see you tomorrow for a 40k rant about why Games Workshop introduce really cool things to their lore and then just abandon them. Yeah, it annoys the shit out of me, and I'll talk about it tomorrow. I love you a long time. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you then. Have a good one. Bye now.